Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got gas. It's a Thursday morning. We're getting ready for some traveling, and the place we're going is Bonneville. Bonneville Speedway. What a historic place this is. Now, the Bonneville Speedway is also known as the Bonneville Salt Flats because it is the Salt Flats. It's in Bonneville. Well, Bonneville Speedway is just before Wendover, Utah. Now, Wendover is kind of an interesting city in itself in that half the city is in Nevada and half the city is in Utah, but with the same name. Boy, there's a difference from one end of the street to the other end, but there's one thing that it has in common, and that's every year at this time, people make the pilgrimage to the Salt to make history, to live dreams, to see how fast man and machine can go. Now, although it's nothing new, the first known motorsports event or racing event at Bonneville was about 1912. So over 108 years, the Salt Flats have been used for man and machine to go as fast as humanly possible or mechanically possible. Speeds in excess of 600 miles an hour from Gary Gablich at 622, Craig Breedlove at 600, and many records below that. Danny Thompson and his father, both over 400 miles an hour. It's a family tradition for them. And there are many other family traditions. Ron Hope, his son, and his grandson, all licensed and run there. Hi, Debbie. Hi, Yvonne. How are you doing this morning? And glad you could tune in. Now, over the years, the Salt has lost its ability, its thickness. Now, every year, SCTA goes up there this time of the year and starts preparing the track or the facility. Track, well, it's kind of a misnomer. A lot of people think of racing as side-by-side action. Good morning, Mo and Bella Moore. But it's not side-by-side. It's one vehicle at a time. There may be 20, 30 minutes between runs. Good morning, Chris Costanza and Bella Moore. Neil Panks, how are you doing in the UK? It is not the excitement you'll see on TV. Very few movies and shows have been done about Bonneville because it's not the wheel-to-wheel competition that a lot of people think is racing. And there's more to that. And Bonneville brings that out. Andy Granatelli came out with a number of Studebaker Avantis back in the early 60s. And at 62 years old, he set 26, I think it was, records for a production car. The flying kilometer, just overall speed, over 168 miles an hour in a production car. Some things just are there and can be done. Yeah, Bella Moore is telling me the SEMA has been canceled. I posted that the other day, and it's unfortunate. Yeah, we can call it ridiculous, but you can't change the virus. It's out there, and we can't avoid that. So Speed Week was canceled 2014 and 2015 because the Salt just was not there. Now, this is Salt Flats. Obviously, the Salt got there from something, and the ocean was there, and it evaporated away. Now, because of mining and runoff from the hills during rain, the Salt tends to get covered by the dirt or just degradates. Last year when we were there, it had rained on Thursday. We got there on Saturday, and it was still mushy. Now, I'm used to putting salt in a glass and watching it dissolve. That's not what happened on the Salt Flats. The water sat there. And people did not get runs till, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday of that week. And those runs were not as successful as people wanted. The condition of the salt just wasn't there. SCTA, the Southern California Timing Association, takes care of that. They are there now preparing the salt for this week. And when I say preparing it, they're leveling it, they're marking off courses. Now, initially, and if you see older movies, you'll see a single black line down the salt. And that was to guide the racers because there's so much expansive salt and land, it's impossible to figure out where you are unless you have markings. Unfortunately, the black line would get worn out quite quick from people driving over it and on it, and it's quite difficult to keep a car in a straight line, even though you're traveling pretty straight and you're not trying to turn. At the speeds you're traveling, the loss of traction and other factors tend to make the car drift around. So what they have done since then, since 2007, is they put up markers and pylons and flags, and this is in a way to try and keep you within the course. Now, there are long course and short course. You need to get a license to set a record. You need to get a license to drive there. That was kind of one of the plans I had this year. I don't think it's going to happen, and frankly, it was an honor to be asked if I wanted to do that. Last year, we were with Jeff Stillwell and the Lucas Oil team. Unfortunately, due to the coronavirus, Jeff is in Great Britain and cannot come into the States. He currently holds the record in the Lucas Oil T Roadster at 268 miles an hour, an impressive speed. He did it with a 1,500 horsepower Hemi engine. He made the first run. They set it up. They went back, made the second run. Through the traps, he set the record. Not bad. He blew the engine on the decel, burnt up the parachutes, did a whole bunch of damage to what was an aluminum block, but decided, you know what? I'm hooked. I now have the record. I now have a goal to beat that record. And a team with Mick and Kiwi Steve and a bunch of guys from Australia, father and son team, they put this car together and improved it. The goal, 300 miles an hour this year. Unfortunately, Jeff can't make it this year. If he was able to break that 300 mile an hour mark, which we're pretty confident he would have, given the new engine by John Beck, he would have been the 5th British racer to go over 300 miles an hour at the famed Salt Flats. It's an amazing place. If you've never been there and you're a car person, put it on your bucket list. It's amazing. It's magical. We went up last year with Jeff's team, helped a bit, and were amazed at the number of people we saw there that we know from other places in the country. People we may have just seen in other places were there. The guys from Rolling Bones come out with a whole bunch of cars out of the East Coast. Traditional hot rods. No air conditioning, no power windows, not even insulation to keep the heat out of the car. And they drive cross country. Great group of guys. We got to speak with them and talk with them. Even got their book and got their t-shirt too. During the cruise nights in Wendover, we met friends there that we hadn't seen in years. People from Northern California, Denver, Colorado, New Jersey, other places in Southern California. It was amazing. And the same was on the Salt. There was no hustle. There was no rush. People were working on their cars. They're home-built, team-built cars. The camaraderie, amazing. The team efforts, astounding. The types of machines that were there were American and import craftsmanship. There were no limits as to what you could do. Oh, there were rules because, well, each class had their rules. But there was everything from Shelby prepared Dodge Chargers to Streamliners, Roadsters, hot rods, stock cars. George Petit brought out a Barracuda, amazing car, with one of the hottest four-cylinder engines ever. He proceeded to spin, but the car does hold some records. He came out with the Speed Demon. It decided to disassemble an engine while in motion, something racers are quite capable of doing from time to time. He put a bigger engine in, and don't remember how well he did, but the Speed Demon is a record holder, and I believe he did set a record that year, or was it the year before? Danny Thompson sold his car, so he didn't return last year, but he, as his father was, is a record holder at over 400 miles an hour. Now, the records are there, and there are plenty of records at Bonneville. Bonneville is considered a landmark. It's northeast of Wendover, Utah, and the Bonneville Salt Flats are on the National Register of Historic Places. And I'll tell you what, it is historic. Now, they had a sign up as you came into the race area, and it was a BLM, or Bureau of Land Management sign. I got my sticker up on that, and wow, this was cool. There were a lot of other stickers there, but I had the GAAS-Great American Auto Scene sticker on there, and Randy Kerdoon's Talking About Cars sticker. It was there. We made it. We were in Bonneville for the first time. That afternoon, the Bureau of Land Management took the sign down, and I had no record that I'd been there, other than a bit of a suntan, or in my case, sunburn. And that's one of the things you got to be careful of. Because it is all salt, it's white, it's very reflective. I suggest you do not wear shorts there, especially the baggy shorts, because the sun hits the salt, reflects up, and you're going to fry something. Tell me. I didn't do it, though. I wore long pants. Good morning, Craig. How are you doing this morning? I don't think I'll get behind the wheel at the salt. I think we're just going to go up for a day or so. But it was on the schedule. It was something we had planned on doing, and it would have been great. Now, some of the records that were set at Bonneville are, well, some of them still standing, and some of them are exciting. The first person to go over 300 miles an hour was Sir Malcolm Campbell in 1935. Put that in perspective. 1935. 301 miles an hour. He was the first Brit to do that. The Edelbrock Special in 1947 went 192. Craig Breedlove in the Spirit of America. What an exciting run that must have been. 407 miles an hour. The Green Monster, another jet-powered vehicle, at 434 a year later. Craig Breedlove says, ain't going to do it. I'm coming back. And he did. Craig Breedlove came back in 1965, went 600 miles an hour. And Neil Panks is telling me he got burnt at the pod. Oh, yeah. A little barbecue sauce on those shoulders there and arms. Sam Fiorini is watching us right now. How you doing? Now, Spirit of America with Craig Breedlove is also noted for one of the longest runs there. Brakes and parachutes did not do the job. And the Spirit of America kept on going until it found a water hole and sunk. Now, they did get it out, but he did make the full run, and it did count, and he got the record at 600.601 miles an hour. The record stood until 1970, when Gary Gabelech came in with the Blue Flame, going 622.40 miles an hour. Now, one of the ones that has been, well, immortalized on cellulose, on film was Burt Munro. Burt Munro with an ancient Indian motorcycle, a Scout V-twin, a motorcycle capable of maybe 50 miles an hour. Yes, Sam, the longest run, the longest skid marks, according to the Guinness Book of Record for Breedlove. But Burt Munro, the world's fastest Indian. Gentleman built it by hand in a shed. He had a goal in mind, and he did it. This man was determined. Using antique and truly antique parts and handmade parts, Burt Munro took his Indian Scout to a record speed of 184.037 miles per hour. Unheard of speed for an Indian. Now, this was an Indian motorcycle that had a real Indian engine, not the Indians that are sold today at dealerships with S&S engines. This was a real deal antique vehicle. And in 1967, Burt Munro, I think he was close to 70 at the time himself, set the record and put himself in the record books. There have been many others. Don Vesco, the Turbinator, 458 miles an hour in a turbine engine motorcycle. The Buckeye Bullet, an electric vehicle. Yes, electric is nothing new, guys, to racing. The electric Bullet, the Buckeye Bullet, electric vehicle, 314 miles an hour. Whew. Mr. Schroeder. There's the Glock family, Erica and Laura and Carly. They all hold records over 100 miles an hour on motorcycles. Motorcycles are out there, and they make the record just like cars do. The world's fastest street legal production motorcycle, a Kawasaki Ninja H2. Shigeru Yamashita, 209 miles an hour. Whew. Bill Cerna in a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL did 190 miles an hour. The speeds are amazing. Now, last year when we were there, John Beck's car, the 1934 Ford Roadster he drives, or has a driver for, had a similar engine to what Jeff Stillwell's car has. His car currently holds the record in the Roadster class. The salt conditions were not optimal, and because of that, they shortened the course and moved the finish line and starting line areas to use the most available and best salt that was there. At the finish line, where our pit now was, Beck's car spun violently at 240 plus miles an hour through the timing lights. That was an indication of what the salt was like that week. And there weren't that many runs made, and few, if any, record runs. This year, though, we're hearing the salt is pretty darn good. And unfortunately, our team, the Lucas Oil team, with Jeff Stillwell's car and Jeff Stillwell, the driver, after many, many upgrades and improvements to his car, is still not going to get the chance to hit that 300 mile an hour mark. He's hoping the coronavirus issues clear and he can come into the States and maybe go to El Mirage this year, something that car hasn't done in many years, and see if he can hit that magic 300 mile an hour number. The goal is still to do it at Bonneville, but 300 miles an hour, no matter where it's at. What an experience. What a challenge. What a goal to set. And if you're a car person, you understand that. If you are not, maybe someone can explain it to you. Bonneville. It's magical. And I'm going there this weekend. Hope to see some of you up there that are watching. I see some of you say you're going to be there. Mr. Black's going to be there. Mr. Mulhauser, and others. Shige and Chico from Moon Eyes, they're on their way there. Chico didn't get his car running last year in time. This year, it's ready. He's willing, he's able, and he's looking for a record. I hope he gets it. We'll stop by to say hi. The Bean Bandits will be there as well, as they always are. Don't know if Ron Hope's going to make it this year. He did last year. His grandson, licensed. He can run 175 miles an hour. His son was there. He's also licensed. Ron's licensed. Ron's wife is licensed. They're a racing family. And they're as enthusiastic as anybody I know. And I hope to see them there to say hi. I hope to see a lot of friends there to say hi. And to me, not being a Bonneville racer, so to speak, well, I'm not a Bonneville racer at all. But the camaraderie and seeing friends and seeing the amazing hand-built machines, that's what it's all about. You guys have a great day. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got gas, the morning edition, brought to you by Service Tech, where you can get the equipment to work on your vehicle in your garage. The best always works the easiest. Also, Valley Head Service. They built the engine in my car. They can build yours too. All right, folks, you have a great day. I'm Hot Rod Bob. You've got gas, the morning edition. And don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Two Tired Guys Productions and GAAS, the Great American Auto Scene. 2 different YouTube pages. You see Morning Gas replayed there on YouTube, and new shows talking about cars, and the evening edition of GAAS on Two Tired Guys Productions. Take care. And Sid saying, how are you doing today? A little warm in North Carolina. Well, temperatures here in Southern California, where I'm located, oh, it's going to be a blistering 69 degrees today. It's 65 right now. I've almost thought about putting on a long sleeve t-shirt. Ain't going to happen. You guys have a great day. I'm Hot Rod Bob, and you've got gas, the morning edition. Take care. Tomorrow, we'll do gas, but on the road. We'll see you then. Hi, Jim Cunningham. Take care.